The next item of business is HR 6035. For the purpose of carrying HR 6035, Chair recognizes Representative Proctor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There were no committee amendments. I rise before the body to present House Resolution 6035, affirming state sovereignty, supporting Texas in its efforts to combat illegal immigration, and encouraging Governor Laura Kelly to offer support to Governor Greg Abbott of Texas, up to and including the deployment of Kansas law enforcement professionals or the Kansas National Guard. Body, Section 4 of Article 4 of the U.S. Constitution makes it clear that it is the responsibility of the federal government to defend the nation's borders from invasion. This section states in part, the United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a republican form of government and shall protect each of them against invasion. Let us make no mistake, the state of Texas and all the states on our southern border with Mexico are being invaded, and the federal government has failed to stop it. According to the U.S. Customs and Border Patrol, 2.5 million illegal aliens crossed our southern border in 2023. That's up from 2.2 million in 2022. That is more people a month than the population of Topeka or Overland Park. It's almost as many people as the population of Wichita crossing our southern border every single month. If that's not an invasion, I don't know what is. And it's not just folks from Mexico looking for a better life either. It's people from all over the world, including military-aged males from China and the Middle East. According to Customs and Border Patrol, again, nearly 300 people on the terror watch list have been apprehended trying to cross our border. How many people didn't we catch? If that's not invasion, I don't know what is. This invasion comes complete with chemical warfare, Body. The precursor chemicals for fentanyl are flooding into Mexico from China, where they're mixed in dirty bathtubs into pills that are flooding our streets right here in Kansas. The KBI told us in the Kansas Security Committee last year that they seized enough fentanyl to kill every man, woman, and child in Kansas 5 times over. 5 times over. And that they also told us that 60% of the pills that they seize have a lethal dose of fentanyl. This is an invasion, folks. This is an invasion. It's clear that the federal government has failed in its responsibility under the U.S. Constitution to defend the states from invasion. And the Constitution anticipated this eventuality and provides a remedy to the states. The third clause of Section 10 of Article 1 states in part, no state shall, without the consent of Congress, lay any duty of tonnage, keep troops or ships of war in time of peace, and enter into any agreement or compact with another state, or with a foreign power, or engage in war, unless actually invaded. Texas is actually being invaded, and it has taken reasonable, measured actions under its inherent right to self-defense enshrined in this clause in the Constitution. This resolution that I bring to you today affirms our support for the Texas governor and his right to defend his state. We already have 100 guardsmen and women in Arizona, but they're in a federal status. So this resolution also calls on Governor Kelly to support Governor Abbott with any means she deems prudent, up to and including sending law enforcement professionals or the Kansas National Guard to assist him in his efforts to defend the southern border. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll stand for questions. The final thing, and what I want to close with, is several people came up here and said, this is the federal government's job. Why are we trying to do the federal government's job? I agree. This is the federal government's job, but they are not doing it. 2.5 million people last year. 300 people on the terror watch list caught at the border. 100,000 Americans died of overdose from fentanyl brought across the southern border. They're not doing it, and so the U.S. Constitution gives the states a remedy, the inherent right of self-defense. But 2.5 million, 100,000 people, that's a big number. So I'd like to close by just boiling that down for you to two people. Today, the Committee on Transportation got a letter from the Highway Patrol. It was in response to a question that I had asked in a hearing with them, and was about the human smuggling bill that the representative from Baldwin City and the representative from Ottawa worked so hard to get passed last year and over a veto. The other day, they picked up a little girl on the highway. They stopped because they had reasonable suspicion that this car might be involved in human smuggling, and they stopped the car. There was a little girl in the car from Mexico who had come across illegally and was being transported, was being smuggled to Iowa. We don't like to think about what's happening to these kids, but I want you to think about what they were smuggling that little girl to Iowa for. I want you to think about what was going to happen to her when she got to her destination. And then I want you to think about all of the little girls and little boys that are being smuggled that we don't get, that we don't rescue, who are trapped in slavery of the most horrific kind. The other person I want to talk about is a person from Lansing. He's a 15-year-old boy. His name's Cruz Burris. And Cruz on Snapchat bought a pill that he thought was Percocet. And the drug dealer came to his house at 2 a.m. He gave the drug dealer a few bucks, and the drug dealer gave him the pill. And then he wanted to share his experiment in drugs with his friends, so he got on FaceTime with his friends and took the pill, and his friends watched him die on FaceTime. And they were so afraid that they'd get in trouble, because they're kids or teenagers, that they tried to text his sister, but they didn't call his parents. And so his parents found him dead in his bedroom the next day. I encourage all of you to watch the testimony that we just had in the Corrections and Juvenile Justice Committee on a bill to expand the Good Samaritan Law, and listen to the stories of parents from my district and parents from all across the state who've lost kids, have lost brothers, have lost loved ones to this crisis, this invasion at our southern border. We have an opportunity to stand as a body and say no more. We are going to support Texas in their effort, their sovereign right to defend their southern border when the federal government won't, and urge our governor to provide whatever support up to and including law enforcement or the Kansas National Guard to support his efforts to protect Kansans, not just Texans, to protect Kansans. And with that, Mr. Chair, I move that when the body rises and reports, it reports House Resolution 6035 favorably for passage.
You've heard the motion by Representative Proctor to report HR 6035 favored. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. Motion passes.